welcome you back, and we thank the Almighty for keeping you and bringing you back the way you are. I want to to respond to Honorable's issue about the people who have been displaced because of suspected witchcraft. I have taken note. I'm going to liaise with the concerned ministry, and we see how those people can be helped, especially in terms of relief aid. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Ibanda North. The Honorable Xavier.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Choma Xavier, MP representing Ibanda North. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on a matter of public importance, the urgent one. On Saturday, the 21st of August, that is this year, strong rains, windy rains, hailstones hit my constituency, and the entire parish was completely ravaged. We lost lives, Right Honorable Speaker. 2 people died instantly. Others were admitted and they are still in the hospital. Houses were destroyed to the extent that it would hardly be difficult to attach a certain roof found in a given place to a certain house. Even right now, some people are homeless, they are displaced because of that strong hailstorms.
Honorable, you are covering your face.
Oh, sorry, Right Honorable Speaker, it is not intentional. Right Honorable Speaker, crops were destroyed, animals lost, birds died, properties destroyed. It is in a state of a disarray. So, Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer, while we are taking the appropriate measures of writing to OPM, my immediate prayer for my people is to call for the immediate and urgent intervention by the Office of the Prime Minister and by the Minister in charge of disaster and preparedness to come to the rescue of my people. Actually, whereas the parish was adversely affected, even the neighboring parish of Kashozi was equally affected. Mr. Speaker, I visited this place on Sunday, and I was speechless. And I have seen our good Right Honorable Prime Minister visiting some places. This is my prayer again. How I wish she could go and visit this place, or the Minister of Disaster Preparedness, since she cannot be everywhere. So, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity, and I call upon the attention of the Right Honorable Speaker and the relevant minister to do the needful. I thank you.
I do hope in both cases that the report from the CAOs that is required to be sent to the disaster preparedness unit have been submitted. This is for information of Parliament. The Premier will act, but the formal documentation at least should be with the responsible department. Yes, Honorable.
Right Honorable Speaker, with your permission, may I be allowed to raise some of the pictures of the property destroyed and others on the floor?
Necessary. We just want response.
Thank you.
We just want, Right Honorable?
Right Honorable Speaker, I think like you have guided, I request the members to put this in writing. You send them to the Ministry of Disaster and the copy. You write to the OPM and copy to the Ministry of Disaster so that appropriate action can be taken. I thank you.
Yes, but in the meantime, there should be governmental presence. People should see that the government is here. While all these other technicalities are going on, somebody should show up and talk to people. It's good for people to understand that the government is standing with them. Yes, Honorable? Still another matter?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I entirely agree with you, and I would like to inform the Honorable Minister that at the moment, there are people who do not have where to sleep. As I've said, we are in the process of writing. We know the formalities. One homestead, right, Honorable Speaker, had 3 houses destroyed completely. Even right now, remember we have the issue of COVID-19. Formerly, people would easily share with others. But now, it is very, very difficult. Those who are displaced do not have any shelter, right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Right, Honorable, you might have to see how to... Yes? Are you going there, Honorable Barimonsi?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and the Honorable Member. Just wanted to provide information that yes, we come here as members of Parliament to raise these issues which occur in our constituencies, and like we have guided, usually we expect that when there is a disaster in a community, our government people, particularly the sub-county chief, should assemble a team which will visit the ravaged area and even take photographs and pictures and detail what has been damaged. There is a disaster preparedness committee at a district chaired by the CAO. They should be able to consider this report and then submit it to the office of the Prime Minister. So our work is supplementary as members of Parliament, but we have guided. That process should be immediate because these are urgent issues, so that even by the time we raise them as MPs, a process has already taken place, like that relief maybe has been mobilized, because most often by the time we raise it, people are already suffering. So I just wanted to provide this information that also as MPs, we should engage the CAO and the district leaders to always immediately take action, because we are here in Kampala when these disasters occur in our constituencies, especially for us who represent distant constituencies. So I just wanted to provide this information to reinforce your point, but like the Right Honourable Prime Minister said, as government we shall take it up and see how the Member of Parliament shall be supported and the people of Uganda North.
The Honorable Barimonsi is the acting chief whip, so I think he's speaking in that capacity. Soy, the Honorable Chemaswet.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to thank you for coming back to the House. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, last week on Thursday, 19th August 2021, I left for Dar es Salaam to witness the swearing-in ceremony of Honorable James Kakosa, who was elected to fill the vacancy in Uganda's representation at the East African Legislative Assembly. Having been cleared by the Deputy Speaker as the Deputy Chairperson, Committee on East African Community Affairs.
Honorable, please go to the urgent matter.
Right Honorable Speaker, the matter of national importance that I'm raising, which is urgent, and I'm raising it to this House, Mr. Speaker, is the mandatory PCR test at the airport by all returnees, both citizens and non-citizens. I noted that whereas the Minister of Health in its endeavor is trying to mitigate the influx of new variants of COVID-19 into the country, the process is precarious and unnecessarily expensive. The private labs at the airport health are charging $65, Mr. Speaker, an equivalent of 250,000 Uganda shillings. When I made some inquiries about the tests at the airport on whether the recent Afghan refugees were all subjected to the same PCR tests, I was reliably informed that indeed all the refugees were tested, but on the account of government of Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this is not a good message to Ugandans being subjected to tests at expensive costs in their own country, and yet non-Ugandans are being catered for by the government. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, as if the high costs are not enough.
I like you to tell me the urgent matter, or we'll pause it there.
Yeah,
what is the urgent matter?
The question is the high cost of testing at the airport. Secondly, the disorganized manner of handling the process at the airport. If you are to go there today, Mr. Speaker, you realize that the whole process is disorganized. Buses, people are bundled into the buses and taken elsewhere to be tested, and they are not tested at the airport. This is so grievous. Information?
You have the information, you're informing the House, you cannot allow information.
Mr. Speaker, this matter is a serious matter, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, where they were taken, these Ugandans and non-Ugandans, they were taken to some beach, not again at the airport. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, it infringes on the rights of an individual to travel peacefully, safely within Uganda. Imagine if somebody had made prior bookings with the taxi operators and the termination of the networks aren't working, how would you access the taxi services within the country?
I think it's time for the Honorable Minister of Health to deal with this matter. She's right
Yes.
here. Can we give her a chance now?
Let's give her.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I think our boss has failed to tame her even.
She's right here.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, globally, all airports are screening and testing people for reasons that we all know, and that is COVID-19, but also to prevent importation of variants which keep on coming up from time to time. Entebbe International Airport is a small airport with limited space. Apart from that, there are also ongoing works. Whereas we would have loved to test people at the airport, it is not possible because of the size, the ongoing works, and the overcrowding. In addition, our airport is undergoing an evaluation for us to comfortably start flying Uganda Airlines. So we cannot afford to overcrowd the airport again. Right Honorable Speaker, the ongoing testing at Pino Beach is collaborative work between Ministry of Health, Civil Aviation Authority, and the private sector. I visited Pino Beach myself. There is no crowding there. The process is smooth. The buses in which people are taken are very beautiful buses. The cost of $65, which Ugandans complain about, Right Honorable Speaker, it may be high, but compared to other countries, it is relatively cheap. We cannot afford to import other variants. We must test. I thank you.
Supplementary?
Mr. Speaker, the information from the minister is good. PCR testing for COVID in Tanzania is a preserve of government. government of Tanzania. But with Uganda, it's about private entities. Mr. Speaker, thermocyclers machines, which are meant for testing COVID, one of them costs only $5,000. If we take a projection of 3,000 sub-counties or town councils in Uganda, the cost would be $15 million US.
Supplementary question?
Yes.
Raise the
15 million US dollars. That will translate to 54 billion shillings.
Honorable Samaswet, what is the supplementary matter you are raising?
The supplementary matter, Mr. Speaker, is that we would like to interest ourselves on these laboratories, whether government or private. And who are they? What about the transport companies? Which are they? They are owned by who?
Thank you, Honorable Samaswet.
Right Honorable Speaker, I request the Honorable Member to visit the place and interest himself in the processes. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we now go to the order paper, Honorable Members? Can we now go to the order paper?
Item number 3 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Sectoral Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry on building a more resilient sector. Lessons learned from a socio-economic impact assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic on the tourism, trade and industry sector.
Yes, Honorable Papa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay a report on the Sectoral Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry on building a more resilient sector.
Let the records capture that.
I beg to lay the minutes of the Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry.
The records also capture the minutes of these meetings.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to request, Honorable Members, you have a copy of this report on your iPads. The report is a comprehensive report of 50 pages. However, I have summarized it and I wish to make my presentation on 20 pages only. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the Committee of Trade, Tourism and Industry, I stand to present a report on the Sectoral Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry on building a more resilient sector, lessons learned from the socio-economic impact assessment of the COVID-19 pandemic on the tourism, trade and industry sectors. Right Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Trade, Tourism considered the subject with respect